Hello everybody, I'm Elias Johnson on the grounds of the Iowa State Capitol, where you'll find memorials just like this one dedicated to honoring the service of men and women who have bravely fought for our country. Tonight we're sharing the stories of veterans and how they're helping one another in our communities. Every military personnel member has a job or a skill set that they're in charge of, and for some, that career starts very early, right out of high school. For two National Guardsmen on deployment, the one thing that they knew is when they got back, they wanted to work together, no matter what the job would be. It's crunch time for the guys at Titan Roofing.
Hey, Cody. I have those pictures up.
A race to get job sites wrapped up before Old Man Winter sets in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The last crunch, yeah, we're trying to get all the roofs down that we can.
And puts the freeze on homes needing some TLC.
Roofing, gutters, and fascia, half-day job.
We're probably managing somewhere in that 20 to 30 projects at one time.
That drywall job that I did.
Okay.
But these troops are right at home when it comes to high-pressure situations.
You want the plywood for this dropped off like this week?
Most of the foremen are either active-duty soldiers.
I've been to Afghanistan 2010, 2011.
Afghanistan.
Or veterans.
We have that trust. They will tell you the truth, and sometimes it's the truth that you don't want, but that kind of helps us stay focused. So,
established 3 years ago by Army National Guardsmen Michael Menard and Scott Barabar, Titan Roofing was a way for fellow soldiers to continue that bond they developed on deployment overseas, but took a new meaning after Barabar took his own life in 2016.
That's kind of what made us jumpstart it. He was one of those guys where if you needed something done, he would figure it out.
The unexpected tragedy changed Menard's dream from just having an average contracting business to honoring soldiers like Scott McConnell through employment.
Definitely finding a new route in life that I didn't know was possible. And it's all thanks to Titan.
Or service projects for veterans who could use some support back home.
Part of what we like to do is we like to give back to the communities that we work in. And so this is going to be our fourth free roof that we're going to give away.
Today's mission takes the team to the east side where Vietnam veteran Danny Vanderlinden's home could use that TLC.
He couldn't sleep in his bedroom because of the ceiling was falling in because of the leaks.
Out of 15 applications for a roof, Vanderlinden's submission, written by his future daughter-in-law, was selected without Danny ever knowing she had entered him, making today's announcement extra special.
Hello, sir. Are you Danny?
No, he just left. Said he'd be back next week.
Next week? Oh, well,
Yes, sir.
well, that's too bad.
Oh, I know who you are. You're roofing.
I am Michael Miner from Titan Roofing, and I don't know if you know this or not, but Megan, I'm guessing you're right. We held a contest to give away a free roof, and she submitted you, and that process it went through, and for your service during Vietnam and for just being a great guy, we are going to give you a free roof.
Well, thank you. Jesus. That means a lot to me, guys.
I think we all was trying to hold back tears to know how much somebody appreciates that, which is absolutely amazing to be able to do that.
Beats putting a tarp up there.
With the big announcement out of the way, the real work starts on Danny's house. Once the shingles are peeled back, the crew understands the scope of just how bad the roof is.
The deck boards, there's a lot that are rotten.
This project goes from a simple repair to a complete replacement.
This will take us a full day.
Thankfully, the kind folks at Allied Building Supply are providing the new GAF Timberline shingles. During the process, proper venting is also installed to ensure safety inside Danny's home. And by the end of the day, the mission is complete. Another veteran is served.
He's looking forward to being, sleeping in his own room again. It was in pretty bad shape, and now he knows that he can sleep during the, a rainy night in peace.
I'm a veteran, and there's nothing better than a veteran. Nothing. We need to hire more of them.
And when Titan Roofing employees aren't on the tops of roofs, they're still giving back to their communities. Coming up a little later, we're going to introduce you to the Titan Project, helping veterans find a place outside of combat. Still to come on this Veterans Special, veterans deal with pain in all different ways. When they return from war, meet one young man who's turning a near-death experience into a teaching moment for others. Welcome back. If you drive around Johnston, chances are you'll stumble upon an amazing lookout of the city and see this tank and plane. It's on the north side of Camp Dodge, where the Iowa National Guard train throughout the year. Post-traumatic stress disorder is very common amongst our veterans. In the past, it's been very hard to treat. As Local 5's Bryn Carmen reports, the younger generation of veterans coming home with PTSD are finding ways to treat the scars and memories they bring home, to find a way to be productive back here on home soil.
Every war veteran has their own stories and scars from serving overseas. They protect our freedom, but at a price. Thousands come back and battle PTSD. Thankfully, mental health experts in Des Moines say the treatment over the years has gotten way better, and now vets are able to find hope after trauma.
I'm done with talking about veteran suicide. I got it. I was almost a statistic.
When Troy Peterson got home from Iraq, his life was riddled with addiction and depression. Things got so bad, it almost cost him his life.
On July 30th of 2015, I attempted to take my own life. I planned it out that was going to be my last day. I didn't want to admit that I was struggling. I didn't want to admit to my problems.
The next day, he woke up in a hospital bed, embarrassed and confused, but determined to find a new purpose.
Best thing that ever happened to me was that I hit rock bottom.
The Purple Heart recipient started CrossFit and found what he had been missing since his days in the Army. And with the help of his friend and trainer, Jeff Woody, they launched ValorFit.
Left leg up, point that toe, stay long.
A place where veterans help veterans rebuild their life through fitness.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And we can do as much as we can to help someone, but until they decide to actually do it, it's null and void. And so all these veterans are doing the work themselves. We're just putting them in the right, we're trying to put them in the right environment.
I think that if it saves one life is it's pretty lazy. And it's kind of a, well, we'll just settle for this average one life, like save as many as we can.
ValorFit is something that's brought Troy's life back into focus, and it's helping dozens of others do the same.
1, 2, 3, other leg.
Therapist Michelle Lundstrom says that's exactly the help veterans living with PTSD need to heal, a passion that gets them into the right mental state.
I'm getting choked up talking about it because I sit with this all the time, and I want people to know, like, you don't have to keep telling it over and over and over. We can treat the symptoms, and the symptoms tell a story. And that's what we know that they didn't know back then when people were returning from Vietnam.
And Michelle is talking from experience. She relates to veterans because she is one.
During deployments, I was always the one everybody came to. And so it was this natural progression of, here's my calling, here's what I'm supposed to do.
Since her time overseas, the way PTSD is treated has improved drastically in Michelle's eyes. She says making sure the mind, body, and soul are in tune with each other is the key recipe to mental success.
And I love to be a therapist at this time in history when we have these treatments and these modalities and the stigma is lessening and more people are realizing, hey, therapy's not that bad. It's actually a good thing and can be very healing.
And things have not only changed at the medical level when it comes to PTSD, but also our culture shift in mental health advocacy.
The great thing about today's society is that it is not okay to suffer alone.
And that's just what this group has found with ValorFit. The workouts bring a sense of camaraderie, something this band of brothers thrive off of.
Burpee plus ones, cinco. Toes to the bar, control down.
Because nobody does anything alone in the military. You always have a battle buddy system, and now we have one here. And so when people first realize that, that's when I say, like, they get it. Like, you see that aha moment is, I'm not alone. Like, I do have people, and these are my people. These are my tribe.
ValorFit is the opportunity that Troy didn't have when things got bad. Every class is a reminder of the life that almost vanished.
I tried to make my wife a widow, and that's something I keep in my pocket. I wouldn't have the 2 kids that I have. They would be fatherless. And so that's something that I regret trying to take away from them, and that I'm going to continue to be better every day for them in hopes that other veterans can continue to see their children.
Valor Fit just started and clearly is a raving success. Troy welcomes even more veterans because he wants to continue saving the lives of men and women who served our country. Reporting in Des Moines, I'm Bryn Carmen. Local 5 News, we are Iowa.
Bryn, thank you. You know, the number of veterans who commit suicide every day is staggering. It's something the Veterans Affairs does track, and their recent data shows that on average 16 veterans, our heroes, take their own lives every day. That amount is about 6,100 veterans every year. Coming up next on this Veterans Special, we're going to take you back to the Titan Roofing men as they show you their new outside of the work project that has spawned a strong community right here in Iowa. Welcome back. Walking around the Iowa Historical Museum's exhibit on World War I, you begin to understand just how many Iowans played a part in battle. The display showcases our history and pieced together for the public the sacrifice of so many. Many of those who returned home from World War I found comfort in joining their local VFW. But that war was over a century ago. We no longer have World War I veterans with us, and the next generation is aging as well. On last count, there are nearly 4 million veterans who belong to their local VFW, but many are not active in their home bases. With membership numbers down, where does the next generation of veterans turn to for support? That's where the Titan Project comes in, building tribes, as they call it, one veteran at a time.
Morning. A lot of us are all either prior service or currently in their guard or retired from the guard.
All right, rock and roll.
A lot of old treasures.
All this stuff in the shed going? We put the feelers out, and we've done this several times throughout the year, and people show up and they work their tails off, and we celebrate, you know, kind of a friendship and this bond that we create.
Yeah, there's a pile out front for sticks and stuff.
This lady, Bev Russell, her son was killed in Iraq the 10th of May 2010. Joshua Davis, he's from Perry. He was a 19-year-old Lance Corporal in the Marines, and you know, she's not that healthy, and she can't really do any of this work by herself. And you know, as a single mom, we decided we would get some veterans together because one it kind of helps us bond, and two, it gives us purpose and direction, and it feels good to give back to someone who has sacrificed so much for their country. When we get out and from the war, we go home, we go back to our jobs and work, and we kind of put things on the shelf, and maybe we don't always deal with them correctly.
Harder to go soldier to civilian. They don't teach you how to come back.
This gives people the opportunity to find similar people that are going through the same, you know, historical issues that we all face, and then we can just talk about it and have fun, and it builds a support network.
It's something you can't explain. It's kind of like, you know, you may act a little bit different with your brother.
How are you?
But there's just that bond where you can just click and you can act in a different way.
Once the roof's gone, then we can get everything out of there.
As Titan, I'm very proud to be a part of.
Take that to the truck.
You put a face of a soldier that we've lost in combat, an Iowa soldier, I mean, it makes it that much more special. Everybody here is going to remember this kid and tell stories about him and talk about, you know, going and helping his mom.
Having a purpose, Titan has definitely helped save my life as well.
Pretty amazing what a group can do when they come together. And it's not just Iowa veterans who are coming together and giving back to their community. We want to take you to Yorktown, Virginia now, where a group called Disabled American Veterans is helping out a widow of a veteran. And her home needed a lot of work, to say the least. We're going to let Katie Collette introduce you to that group and how veterans are helping her.
It's a home away from home for those who fought to protect our freedom.
Just come in here right with the right paperwork, be honest about it, and God will bless you. You'd be surprised.
Michael Taylor knows firsthand about those surprises. Last year, the DAV helped him find a new place to live after the government seized his rental home.
I've been in this situation before.
This time, he's paying it forward for another veteran family.
She's an older lady, she's by herself, and we need that help.
Help for 85-year-old Elizabeth Lewis, whose roof is caving in. Lewis's husband spent 22 years in the military, serving in the Korean and Vietnam War. He died in 1999. When the tiles started deteriorating, she started looking for help.
I was just going through the phone book and I saw DAV and I thought, that's who I'm going to call.
And did they answer it? They already received a $500 gift card from Lowe's to get shingles.
I just felt like that maybe the weight was lifted off my shoulders.
But it's not the only weight that needs to be lifted.
That's what we're supposed to do. We help veterans and their families.
So if you want to help,
you're out there, please give us a call and come help us out.
I'm Katie Collette reporting.
The Disabled American Veterans Group say to date, they have helped 2,100 veterans just like that widow through filing claims and then actually getting on the ground and doing the emergency repairs. Amazing stuff. Still to come, Iowans helping long-lost veterans through the creation of wooden urns. We'll take you behind the scenes of this selfless act for those who have served. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Iowa has a rich history of honoring those who lost their lives on the battlefield, and it's shown through the places in our community, just like the Iowa Veterans Cemetery in Van Meter. It is a powerful place to visit over in Van Meter, and as you walk the grounds of the Veterans Cemetery, you'll notice wooden urns on some spots, honoring those, some of whom gave the ultimate sacrifice. A local woodworking group donated dozens of urns in the past year to make sure each of those individuals received a proper goodbye. Working with the Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs, a man named Dave Campbell and his crew made sustainable containers for the fallen vets. He says it's a way for their talents to be used for something more than themselves.
It's a source of pride both in the work that we do as woodworkers to make a suitable container. It's pride in our country, it's the patriotism. Woodworkers are a very patriotic group as well.
Cemetery staff are keeping track of the urns and using them for respectful burials. It's not just strangers helping out our veterans. Some in the media have gotten involved as well. A Florida man called the TV station hoping they could help track down his father's rumored Purple Heart. As reporter Steve Andrew explains, it was a journey towards righting a 100-year-old wrong.
It was 100 years ago, the war to end all wars. 23-year-old Ralph Karl, a member of the U.S. Army's 119th Regiment, fought the Germans in Europe in 1918 and 1919. Ralph died in 1943 when his youngest son, Edwin, was just 4 years old.
I never really got to know him, but, you know, I had a real father.
Edwin heard stories that his father was wounded in the war, but he was not awarded a Purple Heart.
And I think I have enough evidence.
Edwin found documents dated in 1932 and 34 that show his father, Ralph, suffered eye trouble due to gas and a shrapnel wound over the right eye.
All I keep getting is, well, you know, you got to do this or call that or write to them and so on and so forth and fill out this authorization.
Edwin wrote congressmen, senators, presidents asking that his father be awarded a Purple Heart.
I'm turning 80 in January, you know, I don't have that much longer. So I want him to get what he deserves.
Another roadblock, a fire at the National Personnel Records Center destroyed records of many World War I veterans.
My wife and I watch WFLA every night. I enjoy Steve Cate. I like his humor, you know, he's a great guy. But when I see you're fighting for this Agent Orange and that, I said to myself, gee, now, you know, I wonder if Steve would be able to help me over this stumbling block.
Edwin was so young when his father Ralph died, he barely remembers him, but he is drawn to this fight.
It's just something that I feel that he deserves, and not knowing him, I feel it would bring some connection between me and my father.
Edwin Karl is about to turn 80. He says in the time he has left, he plans to wage a relentless campaign to win recognition for his father's service to this country. I'm Steve Andrews reporting.
Edwin Charlie is about to turn 80 years old, and he says in the time he has left, get this, he wants to wage a relentless campaign to win the recognition for his father's service to this country. And we certainly thank him for what he has done. We hope you've enjoyed this special edition of Local 5 News honoring our veterans. For For those who have served, are serving, or will serve, and their families, thank you so much for all you do. From the Iowa State Capitol grounds, I'm Elias Johnson, wishing you and yours a very good evening.